Everyone said the black Cane Corso was too dangerous to keep. A 155-pound dog with a head like a boulder and dark, unreadable eyes, the kind of animal people cross the street to avoid. When Piper Hayes took him in, 28 different people told her she was making a mistake. That dog will turn on you, they said. A young woman living alone has no business with 155 pounds of animal like that. Piper kept him anyway, and a few months later, that dog started doing something no doctor could explain, waking her in the middle of the night, again and again, and every single time, her life depended on it. This is the story of how the dog everyone feared became the only reason a young woman is still alive. Piper Hayes was 26 years old and lived alone in a small apartment in Denver, Colorado. She had been a type 1 diabetic since she was 9, which meant her whole life ran on a knife's edge, blood sugar that could climb too high or, far more dangerously, crash too low, especially at night, in her sleep, when she could not feel it coming. She lived alone and she managed it alone, and the quiet fear of it, the knowing that a bad night could go wrong before she ever woke, was a weight she carried and told almost no one about. She was not looking for a dog. She was certainly not looking for one the size of a small horse, but a coworker knew of a Cane Corso that needed a home fast. A big, intimidating, so-called dangerous dog that a family had bought as a guard and then decided they could not handle. And the only other option was one Piper could not bring herself to think about. So she drove out to meet him, just to meet him. And when she stepped into that garage, a huge black Cane Corso, who had every reason to distrust one more stranger, lifted his massive head, looked at her for a long, quiet moment, and then walked over and leaned the entire weight of himself against her legs and sighed. She named him Cairo. Cairo was 2 years old, and by then he weighed 155 pounds, and he was, from the very first day, the gentlest creature she had ever known. The trouble was that nobody else could see it. On walks, parents pulled their children back. Neighbors changed direction. A man in her building told her flatly that a dog that size and that breed did not belong in an apartment complex full of families. Her own mother on the phone went quiet and careful every single time Piper mentioned him. And Piper would look down at Cairo, who at that very moment was usually flat on his back on the couch with all 4 legs in the air, and wonder what monster they were all so sure they were seeing. Because the Cairo she knew was quietly changing her life. Cairo was a shadow of a dog who would not be in a different room than her, and for the first time in years, the apartment did not feel so empty or the nights so frightening. She slept a little easier with 155 pounds of Cane Corso on the floor beside her bed. She had someone to come home to. For the first time since her diagnosis as a little girl, Piper did not feel like she was carrying it all by herself. She talked to Cairo about everything, and he would tilt his enormous head and groan back, and the silence that had lived in that apartment for years began to lift. A 155-pound dog she had been warned would hurt her had, without doing anything except existing beside her, begun to pull her back toward a life. And then, a few months in, Cairo started doing something strange. It began on an ordinary evening. Piper was on the couch watching television, feeling completely fine, when Cairo got up, crossed the room, and began to nudge her hard with his nose, whining, pawing at her leg, refusing to stop. She told him to knock it off. He would not. Cairo got more insistent, pushing at her, and finally, mostly to make him quit, she got up and checked her blood sugar. It was crashing, dangerously low and dropping, and she had not felt a thing. She caught it in time, and she sat there, shaking, staring at a 155-pound dog who was now calm again, watching her, and she did not understand what had just happened. I know you are still watching but have not subscribed yet, and after a dog like Cairo, that stings a little. Tap subscribe. Everyone called this one dangerous, and subscribing is how the world finds out what he really was. But it happened again a week later, and again. Cairo, it turned out, could smell it. Nobody had trained him, nobody had asked him to, but something in the chemistry of her body when her blood sugar began to fall was a scent to him, a wrongness he could detect long before she could feel it, and he had appointed himself the one thing standing between Piper and the thing she feared most. Her doctor was astonished. There are dogs trained for years to do what this untrained rescue had simply started doing out of love. Piper started trusting the dog more than her own body because Cairo was never wrong. If he nudged, she checked, and every time the numbers were falling. He caught it at dinner, on walks, in the middle of a movie. He caught it once in a parking lot and would not let her get in the car until she had eaten. The dog the whole building avoided had become the most reliable alarm she owned, and he ran on nothing but the certainty that she was his to protect. And from that day on, Piper stopped being afraid of the nights because 155 pounds of Cane Corso was on duty. The months passed and Cairo never missed. Cairo would wake her from a dead sleep, pawing and nudging and refusing to relent. And every single time she checked, he was right. Cairo caught the lows she slept through. He caught the ones that would have become emergencies. The dog the whole building was afraid of had become her alarm, her guardian, the reason she could finally close her eyes at night without that cold knot of fear. Then came a night in January. Piper had gone to bed feeling fine, but sometime in the deepest part of the night, her blood sugar began to fall, harder and faster than it had ever had before, the kind of severe overnight crash that can take a person who lives alone before morning ever comes, silently in their sleep. She did not stir, but Cairo did. The same dog the whole building had called dangerous, the same dog 28 people had told her to give away, the same 155-pound Cane Corso everyone had sworn would one day turn on her, was suddenly on the bed, barking, pawing, shoving his huge head against her, doing everything a dog can do to wake a person who was not waking up. And this time, she barely did. Piper came up out of that sleep thick and confused and wrong, her body already failing, and through the fog she understood two things at once, that she was in serious trouble and that the dog would not stop. She could not make her hands work well enough to help herself, so Cairo did the rest. He would not let her drift back down. Cairo kept her there, kept her conscious, barking and nudging until she managed to knock her phone off the nightstand and call for help. He stayed pressed against her, that huge, warm body anchoring her to the waking world, until the paramedics arrived and got sugar into her and pulled her back from an edge she had come far too close to going over. The minutes between her call and the sirens were the longest of her life, and through every one of them, Cairo did not move, kept his body against hers, and kept talking to her in that low, urgent whine. He had smelled it coming the way he always did. The difference this time was that she had been too far gone to save herself, and so he refused to leave until someone came who could. They told her plainly what a crash like that one, that deep, with no one there to catch it, so often means. She would not have woken up, they said, and Piper knew with the certainty she will carry for the rest of her life that if she had listened to those 28 people, if she had given away the dog everyone feared, there would have been no one in that apartment to smell the danger in the dark. There would have been no one to drag her back to the surface. There would have been nothing at all. Word spread through the building the way news like that always does. The man who had said the dog did not belong there knocked on her door with an apology and, sheepishly, a bag of treats. Piper's mother, who had been so careful about Cairo, flew out that week, and the first thing she did when she walked through the door was get down on the floor and put her arms around 155 pounds of Cane Corso and thank him for her daughter's life. The story spread past that building, picked up by a shelter that takes in more big, hard-to-place dogs than it can count, because for once they had proof in a 155-pound Cane Corso of exactly what the world keeps walking past. People wrote to Piper to say they had adopted the dog everyone told them not to. "Give him a chance," she wrote back. "You have no idea what he might turn out to be." Today, Cairo is 4 years old, and he still owns the couch, and Piper still gets the corner. Cairo still will not be in a different room than her, and every single night, he still lies on the floor beside her bed, on duty, and when the numbers start to fall in the dark, he is already awake, already nudging, already there. Because here is the truth that every single person who feared him got wrong. A dog is not dangerous because of his size or his breed or the heavy shape of his head. What makes a dog is who he decides to belong to and exactly what he is willing to do to keep them safe. Cairo decided on the very first day that a frightened young woman was his, and he set himself to guarding her against a danger no one taught him to see, night after night, for the rest of his life. If you are thinking about adopting a dog, especially a big one, especially the one everyone else is afraid of, please do not listen to the fear. Go and meet him, give him your patience and a fair chance, and understand that sometimes the dog the whole world calls dangerous is the one who keeps you alive. Because Piper did not just rescue Cairo. If you ask her, she will tell you, without a moment of doubt, that he rescues her, over and over, every single night. So let me ask you honestly, would you have taken in a 155-pound Cane Corso that everyone called dangerous, or would you have listened to them and walked away? Tell me in the comments. And if a dog ever became the reason you felt safe again, say their name below so the next person hesitating knows what these dogs are really worth.